apply in Pakistan? Is there such law, or can Nawaz Sharif be in public life once again? Just for now, he has to step down from the position of the Prime Minister. What is it like in Pakistan? Would you have any idea, sir?
You know, laws are the same almost, you know. These are
Okay.
the British laws which are continuing in Pakistan also.
Okay.
But the problem is with Nawaz Sharif, you know, he would have to, and his family, both the sons and daughter will have to go to the jail.
Yes.
Because they will send him to the jail. He will not be staying all, because it has already been proved by the JIT that money laundering has taken place. Now they'll see the money trail. They must have taken the money trail as well, you know. So he will not be there for a longer period of time. He is aware of that fact, you know. And this time in Saudi Arabia, the King Abdullah is not there, who had bailed him out last time. So they will keep him. Idea is to army's plan is to destroy PMLN.
Okay.
They're out to destroy this political party.
That's very interesting. To destroy PMLN, because here in the studio,
it is pro-army.
Here in the studio,
And
Mr. Raga, we had Ambassador Sajjanar telling us that how strong PMLN is right now, and what they need to do is consolidate their vote bank, because it is the largest single party really all across Pakistan. So will this task be really easy? And I want to bring in Professor Singh on that as well. Professor Singh, do you believe that's what the army really wants to do, destroy PMLN altogether, and there is no future of the Sharif family? Because not just Mr. Sharif himself, the Prime Minister, we have his daughter, we have his sons. So this is the end of the Parivar really when it comes to Pakistan. Professor Singh.
I think almost for a decade, the Pakistani army has made it more than clear that they do not wish to directly take over power in Pakistan. Nevertheless, they want to make sure that no leader emerges so powerful that he can stop listening to what army wants him to do. So in that sense, there is a tension between two sides where Nawaz Sharif is seen as you know, unstoppable in that sense. You remember he was banished and he's come back and stayed on in power for 4 years.
Right.
Let me quickly say the Constitution of Pakistan has a provision that talks about honesty and sagacity of the leader, and that can be interpreted to say that he does not qualify according to this judgment to stay as Prime Minister. But you know, there are always provisions that can be interpreted later in a very different fashion. We remember Zardari was in jail as well.
Correct.
He stayed as president later. So these are things which are open to enormous amount of
Professor Singh, you're saying there is a loophole. You're saying there is a loophole, and there is a possibility Nawaz Sharif could come back to public life in Pakistan once again. Is that what you're indicating?
I'm saying after elections he come back and stay in power again.
Okay, so this is not the end. That's an interesting point of view that's also coming in. But I also want to understand from you, since I've asked this question to our panelists in the studio, what does this really mean for India? Is there going to be much of a difference really, whether it is Nawaz Sharif, whether it is brother or someone else from PMLN? Will it make a difference to Indo-Pak relations? Professor Singh? And then I'm going to go back to Kamaraga with the same question. Yes.
In a very, very broad fashion, a stable government in Pakistan is good for us, because we know who to talk to.
That's correct.
India has, for some reason, avoided talking directly to the military, which several other countries have been doing over years. But India has taken it in terms of principle of only talking to elected leaders. And in that sense, a strong elected leader like Nawaz Sharif is useful for India to deal with. But we understand that this time he seems to be undermined by this judgment. And army and opposition seems to be really feeling much more happier with the situation.
But the opposition may be celebrating today, but they really don't have the strength, because PMLN has a very good majority in the Parliament of Pakistan. So it is not really about dissolving the government just as yet in Pakistan. That stage I don't think has arisen just as yet. Mr. Kamaraga, I want to just put that question back to you before I go back to my panelists in the studio about the ramifications of this in your understanding to any Indo-Pak relations. Does it really matter who really the Prime Minister is? Because ultimately we see who's calling the shots. They're actually coming in from Rawalpindi, not really Islamabad.
That's true, you know, the shots fired by the army establishment. But the one thing, you know, this establishment has a sinister design in Jammu and Kashmir, and now has the total backing of China. So we are going to have a tough time, especially, you know, in this sector. Relation would further worsen the time to come, because the weak leadership will not be able to provide any negotiation or any such thing, you know, with India. We should not expect. We will expect, we should prepare rather, for having a tough time coming from Pakistan, especially at the border.
Okay, that's an interesting point of view. So you feel that at the border especially, there will be tougher times ahead because now the army will continue to push its agenda, Major General Sinha, because they see that the political strong leader that they have now has been disqualified.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Mr. Aga, what he was bringing out, I will just further take it to the second stage.
Yeah.
You see, Pakistan establishment as on today, they, especially the Pakistan army is concerned, they want to have two very clear and distinct, option they want to play. They want to have a play option in Afghanistan, and they want to play an option in Kashmir and through India. In this, we must understand, now a new player has come. The Pakistan, China in a big way, it is irony, no one in Pakistan will, agree. Today, Nawaz Sharif has been, actually, he has been disqualified on the basis of corruption.
Corruption, yes.
But in the Pakistan military, the corruption is very, very high. China has flooded money to the generals.
Okay.
No one can touch them. And these generals, they are, firing the shot behind. Last about 1 year or so, if you see that China is trying to do an interview in India through Kashmir. What is all happening in China border and what is happening in Kashmir, what you see a little bit, it is all China.
Okay, so you're saying this is advantage not just the army but also China. But Ambassador Sajjahar, in the beginning we were discussing, you were saying that this will not make much of a difference. But the point of view that's coming in from Mr. Aga as well as Major General Sinha is very contrary to what you were saying earlier.
I think I must have been misunderstood, because I did say that it is going to make a big difference, because it is going to make the army more powerful, and in that sense it will make them more adventurous.
Adventurous.
Absolutely. Because, all that is happening in Kashmir Valley at the moment, it's all Pakistan army is doing. And it will make them more confident. And if they are more confident, and as I said, that the esteem in which they are held in Pakistan, I mentioned Zarbe-Azb, it has become sort of, it's increased their acceptability, and it's increased their prestige and profile. And this way, when you have another, meaning the major party that is scrambling to sort of get together, because of course they've been dealt with a body blow. Because
but you also mentioned that this is pretty much on expected lines. I mean, Nawaz Sharif would have known, because it's not the other two judges in the past as well when they came out with the verdict, and that's when from a 2-judge bench it became a 5-judge bench. So they would have known that this is actually coming their way. So they would have been planning this ahead, I mean, it's not as a major blow that's really come. Of course, semantics of it, by the looks of it, it's a body blow to the civilian government. But PMLN and Nawaz Sharif are not naive to politics. They would have planned this through. No, probably absolutely. By now they must have a successor also ready.
Absolutely. That's what I said. That's what I think on this program I've said it 3 times already.
Yeah.
That Shahbaz Sharif.
Who is the successor?
Shahbaz Sharif.
Okay.
But, that's the position that I have taken. That, because it was known that his whole family is going to be disqualified.
Totally.
So none of them, including Maryam Sharif, because she was the one who was at one time being projected as the public face of this.
Correct.
So it was Shahbaz Sharif who has been sort of, with the Prime Minister all through. Yesterday when he came back from Maldives, he went to receive him. He's been in all the meetings that took place yesterday as well as today morning.
And what sort of a PM does he make then? What sort of a PM does he make?
Well, you see, he also has had his problems with the army. It's not that he is a blue-eyed boy of the army. Because we must realize that it was in Punjab that the Zarbe-Azb had started. And that is where, even without telling the Chief Minister of the Punjab province, the army had gone and started sort of, because earlier Punjab was a province that was given completely to the Sharif brothers to handle by themselves.
Correct.
But when we had some of these signature attacks in Pakistan, that is when the army also decided to step in and move over the heads of the Sharif brothers, over the head of Shahbaz Sharif. So in that sense, he is not, there's no love lost between the two of them. So in that sense, the tension and the stress between the PMLN leadership and the army, because they can also...
That will continue.
That will continue.
Major General Sinha.
Yeah. I agree to a certain extent with the ambassador, but I just want to bring, further what he has to qualify that. You must understand, the Pakistan is going to go in general election next year.
Correct.
1 year is left. For the time being, what is being played, and it is written in the wall, please read this. For the time being, what he's saying, the Chief Minister of Punjab will come and take over. He will be a puppet. Nawaz Sharif, Mr. Agha just brought it out, there is no provision. There is no provision. Pakistan will completely disqualify on the charges of corruption.
Okay, there is no such provision.
Out only for 5 years. And mind you,
only for 5 years, as you say. So there is a possibility of him coming back.
Like
Professor Singh was saying. Professor Singh was saying Nawaz Sharif can come back.
Only survivability of Nawaz Sharif, which he has learned in the last about 7 or 8 months, that he has towed the line of army. And if you'll go in a second segment, I will tell you what is the concern of Pakistan Army. It is not only in India. There is something deeper. I will try to bring it out if you will give me the time.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Okay, let me just quickly go back to our panelists outside the studio, Mr. Qamar Agha as well as Professor Singh. Professor Singh, you were telling me a couple of minutes ago of how this is not really the end, because knowing Nawaz Sharif, Major General Sinha is seconding what she's saying, that the ban on him is only for 5 years of what Pakistan law really states. He can come back to public life. But in the interim, we have a year of this government to continue, which has a brute majority. But is this not really throwing Pakistan into further political turmoil, because of which it will also affect relations with India, Professor Singh? How do you see this? Because when elections are due next year in Pakistan, what happens? There is no strong leadership. Nawaz Sharif cannot be seen in the forefront. His daughter cannot be seen in the forefront. The army, of course, becomes stronger over there. This will spell further trouble for India too. Professor Singh, how does this play out? Professor Swaran Singh, can you hear me? That was for you.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, please go ahead. I can hear you, sir. Kindly go ahead. Yes.
Okay. I was saying,
yeah,
Nawaz Sharif becoming stronger is not necessarily good news for India. He is as much involved in Kashmir as army is. Basically, the tussle is within Pakistan. Army does not want to see him becoming too powerful and becoming too autonomous.
Okay.
Second, it is less than 1 year for elections.
Right.
Whether he would like to expend a very powerful brother in Pakistan, Shahbaz Sharif, to come and work next to him. It's like two tigers on one hill. I think we are taking too many things as conclusive.
Okay, one moment, sir. One moment. Professor Singh, sorry for interrupting you there, but we have Naved Rana, Pak journalist, joining us over the telephone line. Naved, thank you. Appreciate you joining us here on the broadcast on NewsX. We, of course, are talking about the possibilities after Nawaz Sharif. This is a big, unprecedented verdict that's come out of the Pakistan court. Now, explain to us, Mr. Rana, of the possibilities ahead. Do you think there is a point in Nawaz Sharif even challenging this as a review petition? What's going to happen? Okay, there, we can see it, Naved Rana. Please go ahead. Naved, I'm afraid we'll have to connect the audio line with you. You can hear me, but we can't get your audio. All right. I think now it's through. Naved, all right, I don't think we have Naved just as there. We have the video link, but we'll try and connect the audio line with him in just a couple of moments of how Pakistan is dealing with this and what's the next move there for PMNL. In any moment now, we'll get live inputs once again from Pakistan for you. But Mr. Agha, if I can come to you briefly before we go back to Pakistan of the possibilities that we are discussing over here and how for the time being this could be end for the Nawaz family. But from here onwards, what really happens? Mr. Agha.
No, I don't think, Nawaz will come back again or stage back again, as happened in the past, because he's already 64, 65, and by the time add another 5 years, he would be 71. And second thing, where would be his party? It would be in totally disarray, in the next 5 years, because the party is around him. He built a party. He's the only leader within the Muslim League, Nawaz Sharif. There is no other leader in the party. All of them are very too small. They cannot hold. Third thing, army is very vindictive. We have seen in the case of Benazir Bhutto, because she has also committed the same sin, wanted to have greater power for the elected government, and we saw what has happened to her. He is not being, targeted by the army, mainly because he comes from Punjab, and second thing, he has close ties. He used to have very close ties with Jamaat-e-Islami. He was a very blue-eyed boy of Ziaul Haq, who brought him
so there is no
politics.
comeback.
But
In brief, Mr. Ravi, you're saying that there is no comeback for Nawaz Sharif.
As well as with the army.
Okay, stay with me please, because I think we have the link back with us from Naveed Rana joining us from Pakistan. Naveed, if you can explain to us the ramifications of this. This is a huge body blow to PMLN right now. If I can just begin by asking you,